To introduce them individually. First, to my immediate left, Marjorie Velasquez. John Doyle. Assemblyman Mark Jonai. Egidio Cementelli. And John Serini. We do have, just to be open, we have one candidate that his petition is in question right now. He can probably explain it, but I think as a fair compromise, since we don't know if he'll be on the ballot, we're going to allow him to make a 2-minute presentation. Unfortunately, because he's not officially on the ballot yet, he won't be participating in the forum, but you can keep on top of his campaign and follow up if it goes to Victor Ortiz.
Pleasure, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Today's a wonderful day, and I'm very honored to be here. A couple of months ago, my journey to be part of this process began at home with my family, looking at my community. Poor sanitation, potholes, Hurricane Sandy, and speaking to the candidates made me feel that none of them were addressing the opioid epidemic. We're addressing the issues of the community where I lived, where Hurricane Sandy destroyed most of the houses in that neighborhood. We weren't addressing issues of education. There was a lot of problems with people who live in public housing. I got a good friend here who has a problem with scaffoldings being there for 3 or 4 years. And so my journey through this process was to be part of the team, but unfortunately the team didn't want me to be part of them, so I decided to run for myself. And so now I would like, and myself and Mr. Gomez would like to team up and try to influence not only my part of the community, Mr. Gomez's part of the community, and we're going to sit down and think about who we're going to endorse in the future, because I think there is potential here in some of the candidates. To address the issues of the community, to address the drug epidemic, to address housing, to address taxes, to address the businesses that have been destroyed in East Tremont and in this neighborhood. I came to live here after college, and I had a great time living in 80 Avenue, so I know this neighborhood very well. I know your concerns. So for Mr. Gomez and myself, we want to hopefully unite our thoughts and our prayers to see if we can find who will be the next candidate to represent us. But it's very important that we choose wisely and that we are not fooled by some of these candidates. Mr. Gomez and I were 2 candidates that were part of the process and were taken out of the process, and I think it was an abuse of power. But the process was there to happen, and we were bumped off in a very systematic, illegal way. It was very undemocratic. And so we're not bitter, we're going to move forward, and hopefully we will address who would be the next politician, and we will bring the people that have joined our camp, and we will join one of these wonderful politicians, and we will have the best city council member that's going to be inclusive to the entire neighborhood, and that's going to be inclusive and understanding the needs and address the issues and the problems that we have here in the 13th District. And so thank you very much for all your support all this time, and I would like to pass the mic back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victor. So our format will be simple. Our 5 candidates will start with an opening statement. The microphone is there for you folks to share. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. We will then continue, when every candidate speaks, with 7 questions. 1 question on education, 1 on healthcare, 1 on the economy, quality of life, small business, social media, and a social media question, and a question that was received and handed to me in one of these cards at the door. If your question is not answered today, if I do not select your question here, Every valid question that's not repeated will be put on our Facebook page, Allerton International Merchants Association. We encourage all the candidates to please check it out and answer appropriately. And while they're answering those 7 questions, if they refer to another candidate sitting next to them, that candidate will have a minute to respond or review. Grace Lavaglio is sitting to my right. She'll be our timekeeper. She's a tough cookie, so stick to your clock. And then if we have some time, we're going to do a lightning round, which is a simple yes or no, 7 questions, where the candidates just raise your hand if you support them. And if you need to clarify, you feel like the yes or no wasn't suffice, in your closing statements towards the end, you can insert your rebuttal or your clarification if you felt the question was too vague for a hand raise. That's your prerogative. And then finally, you will have a chance to do a closing statement depending on how much time we have left. But we're looking at 2 to 3 minutes leniently for you to get your full statement out. Now that we have a smaller camp, we should have time to finish around 9 o'clock. Any leftover time, feel free to mix and mingle. Everybody, sounds good to the candidates? Sounds good to our guest? Great. So we'll get started with the opening statement. Marjorie, since you chose the immediate right, please go first and we'll go straight down.
I like standing because I'm extremely short and it's easier for you all to see me this way. Thank you. On, off, on, now.
No.
It's on.
Check.
All right, now, here we go. Let's try this again. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you to Jean and Veron for hosting this event. Thank you to Richie and his mom, who are the proud owners of the stands. Me and my family go way back when with them, and I have countless wedding dresses that I came out in different weddings with from, from 4 years old and above. And so thank you guys for having that. So for most of you guys that don't know me, my name is Marjorie Velasquez, and I am a proud Democrat running for City Council here in District 13, where Councilmember Baca has been term limited, and he has endorsed me along with Councilmember Richie Torres, Borough President Gail Brewer, most of the women in the City Council, and labor groups like DC 37, Teamsters. We're looking at, nope. Yeah, stay back here. How about now?
Yes.
There we go. All right, so once again, labor groups were CWA, DC 37, Teamsters Joint Council 16, and none of this at all would have been possible without those 2 right there. Those are my parents, folks, and they came here from Puerto Rico, barely any English and barely any funds, and fought really, really hard and worked really hard to give me and my siblings a life that they couldn't have. Proud graduate of 8 years in public school. I went to St. Catherine's because they didn't trust me around boys for high school. And then I went into NYU Stern, where I took up accounting and finance. And that led me to a career at DirecTV, where I managed the books for 16 different countries. And that's what I want to bring into the City Council. Someone who understands the budget, enforces the budget, and can actually bring it back to us, the forgotten borough here in the Bronx. I want to tackle the transit desert that we have here and the problems that we face daily. From these trains that don't work for us, from promises of a Metro North that never has gotten here yet, to issues in education where our students don't have the same programs that I went to. This was the class of '95 where I had talented and gifted program. And where we're looking at affordable housing, it means not to displace our tenants and making sure that property owners are not being displaced with high taxes, high assessment fees, and high water rates. And I'm here to fight for you and with you and be your voice. Thank you.
All right, let's have at it. My name's John Doyle. I don't need to introduce myself because many of you in the room already know me. I've been a dedicated public servant for the last 10 years throughout our district. I was born in this district. I was raised in this district. Born in Pelham Bay, raised in City Island. I still live on City Island, and I've been working in this district for the last 10 years, working in many cases for many of you. For me, I'm not going to go into endorsements because I'm light on that, but what I will say, what I think is more important, 600 people have contributed to my campaign. Over 400 of my neighbors have contributed to my campaign. I think that means more to me than any establishment endorsement ever will, and that's a validation of the trust you have placed in me in our decade of working together. We face real challenges. We need real leaders. We need people with a proven track record, with integrity, with experience and independence to get things done. In my time in Allerton, I've been involved in fighting overdevelopment, 1464 Esther Avenue. I was one of the people testifying at continuous meetings to the BSA to try to halt that project and slim it down. I was involved with many of you in this room in jump-starting the Stand Up to Gun Violence program, which has brought down shootings in the Pelham Parkway houses and the Parkview houses by 60%. I was also involved just recently, going down to the steps of the City Council and testifying against this Baychester Square shopping mall, which is going to crowd our highways even further than they already are. I'm sick and tired of people talking about economic development in this borough being another shopping mall. We don't need one. We need new thinking, new ideas, fresh blood, and a new way of going. So I hope to earn your support. September 12th is the primary. My name is John Doyle, and look forward to speaking to you all soon.
Good evening. Thank you so much for always caring about this community and giving back. Can we have a round of applause for Gene, please?